Try and think outside the box, because there is always a way. Thank you very much.
The Tribunes. Simphiwe Mkhize. If adventure were to be the definition of the human spirit, then Simphiwe would be the embodiment of the incredible lightness of being. Her physical ability has enabled her to climb life's ladder rung by rung, without fear or favor, and with the gusto that in itself is a tribute to living, a tribute to life.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a woman of many words. I'm so happy to see so many people. Yeah, as I said, I'm not a woman of many words. I'm so shy. My name is Simphiwe Mkhize. Some of you know me as Gugi at Mubango. Okay. I was born deaf. I also have my brother who's also deaf in my family. So communication in my family is not a problem. So it's so easy for me to communicate because I grew up living with my brother who's deaf. When I started working at Mubango, I didn't realize the very big role that the media is playing in changing people's attitude towards disability, especially the deaf people. Some people have come out with their own disabilities regardless of who they are. And now there is more awareness about deaf people. Like today, we have interpreters. We also see interpreters on TV. So that is so wonderful. So people doesn't see disability as something different. They are more aware about it. So I'm so happy that we can work with hearing people, regardless that who are deaf, which is very good. I also want more people to be more aware, must be educated, must know more about deaf people, and empowered and motivated, which is improving very well. Sorry, the interpreter said I was so fast. Okay. The attitude also for deaf people has changed, because before we did have challenges. So my goal is that we work together. Regardless of our disabilities, I encourage you all. Thank you.
The Tribunes. Thuli Matali. Some say it is better to discover the true nature of your calling than to never have discovered it at all. Thuli's expression of life is quintessential of a discoverer of self-purpose. Thuli is true to who she is, unambiguous about that which is true to the expression of hers and life in general. A few moments spent with her underscores why her being is a tribute to life.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable guests, and my colleagues. I thought I'll just come up the stage just to greet everybody and say goodbye, because I think everybody's done a wonderful job. They've told all the stories I needed to tell. They took all my words, so really I don't have much to say. But I thought I wouldn't be doing this night justice if I did that. I'd like to share with you a story of a little girl who grew up in the outskirts of Pretoria. Very skinny, very, very dark-skinned, and very ugly. That girl was so vibrant and so energetic that she wanted to do everything all at once. She was the leader of the netball, she was the leader of the drum majorettes, she was the best ballroom and Latin American dancer, and she was a soccer player. As if she knew that her mobility will be cut short at a very early age. At the age of 15, I was hit by a stray bullet that rendered me disabled, a paraplegic. And that's the reason I'm sitting on this chair today. Usually when I do my speeches, I hate coming to this point because it goes so quiet in the room. But instead of me crying over my mobility, I am glad today to say I'm grateful for being in this chair. It has turned me into this woman that I am today. From the skinny girl, very dark, well, I'm still dark, very ugly, I think I did good. I love the woman I am today. I love the fact that I can put on my makeup, I can put on my weave, I can do my manicure with my disabilities and still go out there and say, I am a woman and I am proud to be a woman with a disability. I am not a disabled woman, let's get that straight. I am a woman with a disability. My femininity is first, this chair is second. It does not define me. This little girl decided she's gonna go to Joburg, leave the Bundus, and get a job. I'm currently employed as the Corporate Social Investment Manager at Barloworld. And I'm really proud to say that Barloworld is a conglomerate. And we operate in over 49 countries in the world. And I'm proud to say that I am the CEO Award winner of Barloworld for 2009 globally. My point with highlighting my achievement is that the corporate world is very difficult for a young black disabled woman. We need to prove ourselves, not even twice, better than our other colleagues, a whole lot more than them. And the fact that I could achieve that globally, to me it said that we are now leveling the playing fields in the corporate world. We are now claiming our place where we say we've got a skill, and that skill is enough to help this country to be the better country that we want it to be. Our skill is not disabled. We might have disabilities. Our disabilities have brought us through challenges. And with those challenges, we have learned to go through life. With those challenges, we have learned that we can be the best people that we can ever be. Just before I went to Barloworld for this job, I thought to myself, there's one thing that I need to do. I need to sit down and just have what I personally call a mental spring cleaning day, which is one thing that a lot of us just forget to do as we go through life. I sat down and I said, Thuli, what is it that you have learned and where do you want to go? I said, I want to be the best employee ever. I am that today because I managed to look at my failures, and I managed to separate my failures from my disability and not try and blame them on my disability. I managed to say, I'm going to go out there and change the corporate world. I am glad today to be the disability ambassador for such a big company. With all that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have learned that if you really want to be it, nothing can really stop you. My disability in my head, I think it came to teach me a lot of things. With all the things that I did, the netballs and the soccer and all that, I focused more on the Thuli that can jump up and down and prove that she can kick the ball better than anybody. And I think a message came to me from above that says, there's a whole lot in you that you can offer to the world, but you are focusing on just one thing. Now it is time for you to learn that there's a beautiful, brave woman inside of you that can take on the world. And with that, I'd like to say to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, adversity does build character. Thank you.
Okay. The tribunes. Shirley Berry. Shirley is possibly South Africa's foremost go-to people. Having advised various people, from the office of the president to those most downtrodden, women with disabilities, Shirley is not done yet. She has left the door open for all those on a quest for a fulfilling expression of life, and will walk the path.
Good evening, all you beautiful, beautiful people. I'm so utterly inspired by this evening, and I hope all of you are as well. And I'm especially inspired by our young people in this room, our young people that have come from the school to sing for us tonight, because it reminds us that these are the young people with disabilities that we are fighting for a much better future. Because the fight and the struggle is a long way from over, and we must never forget that. I'm also so inspired to be in this room with Henrietta Bokopane Zulu and with Beatrice Ngobo, who many years ago, when I was a young disabled person, straight out of hospital, still quite depressed, I met these sisters as comrades at Disabled People South Africa. And they really, really inspired me and showed me the way and made me see, wow, there's a lot of work to be done and that life can be so much fun. We had so much fun back in those days, Henrietta. The comrades, yes. So I am the last speaker. I'll keep it short. But my story is that I always wanted to be a filmmaker. And it might have been a crazy dream, but when I was 8 years old, my mom took me to the cinema for the first time. And I decided that I wanted to be a director. And it was a crazy dream at the time. And would take many, many, many years before I actually saw that dream come true. But at the age of 24, I was shot in senseless taxi violence in Cape Town. And I was very young at the time, and I felt that my dreams were shattered. And how do you make films in a wheelchair? My mother, who is here tonight, and I want to acknowledge her and give thanks to her. Mom, stand. It's my beautiful mother. Was by my bedside every day in ICU and listened to me cry and tell her how my life is over. And one day she said to me, I think it's time you stop feeling sorry for yourself. And that is exactly what I needed to hear. And I did. And I went on to become a filmmaker much, much later in life with a scholarship from the Ford Foundation at the age of 32. My first film won 8 international awards. I'm very proud of that. So but before that, my life was in activism. Before I got into film, my life was in activism, because I realized as an able-bodied person going into a life of a person with a disability, I realized for the first time the inequities that existed in society, and I felt that I needed to do something about it. And my means is through the media, because when we look at the media, we see the invisibility. We see the lack of representation, and we see the lack of our voices. So it is my task from now until the day I go is to work within the media to ensure that we have adequate representation, not only on the small screen, but on the big screen. So if there are any actors out there, please come, give me your number afterwards. I'm going to end with a short clip of one of my films. I do have copies here if anyone wants. And it says all that I can't say right now. Thank you.
I have to speak, you see. Speak because I almost can't. Speak because so many haven't. Speak in whatever language I know and not fear walking on my own fire. Speak I must because I was almost silenced. I speak simply because I am here. When I'm gone, I'm leaving words and tracks behind.
I have a hole in my throat. In this hole fits a tiny tube that makes me breathe, makes me speak. When I remove it, I have no voice, no language. Speaking is not an option. Then again, neither is silence. And so I speak about that day when they gave me 3 hours to live and told my people to come say goodbye. I couldn't talk then, only watch the spirit of my mama hovering above my bed. I knew my lover was still alive. Bullet flew right through me, got stuck inside her. It's still there, linking us for always. Because we both still feel that bullet. We can speak about it now, about the holes in our bodies and the holes in our hearts. Too many of us have bullet wounds and hidden scars and words that fall down the well in our throats. Still, I have learned to celebrate this hole. The breath and speech it gives is my life force. So I decorate it with jewelry, different handmade beads and trinkets, because scars should also be crowned, even if they're not neat or pretty or hard to look at sometimes. Scars should also be crowned. They deserve to be carried on words and mouths. They deserve to be part of our stories. Sometimes our stories fall upon a place that heals. I have to speak, you see. Speak because I almost can't. Speak because so many haven't. Speak in whatever language I know and not fear walking on my own fire. Speak I must, because I was almost silenced. I speak simply because I am here. When I'm gone, I'm leaving words and tracks behind.
The Tribunes. Henrietta Makopanezu. They say when life throws you a lemon, make lemonade. Henrietta's life is the classic example of her alchemist self. A person who epitomizes rising above adversity and in the process becomes a champion for the contextualizing of the living of life. Her being is a tribute to life.
Girlfriends, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The girls have told all the stories this evening, but you know I am a politician, so in politics there's something called protocol. So as all the ladies did not observe it, I don't want to pay, tomorrow. So the Honorable Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Lemme, the Mayor of eThekwini, the Deputy Mayor of Umgungundlovu, all the mayors, councillors, members of parliament, legislatures, the beautiful ladies that are being honored this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You know, the one thing I like about South Africa today is that it's a global village, so if you want to know Henrietta's story, you just go at that thing and you go, you move your fingers. She said 45 minutes per hour, and you can read all about Henrietta. So I'm going to save you the trouble of telling you who she is this evening, because I would like you to do your homework. But you see, this girl goes places. The long and short of it, I can just tell you that she was born totally blind in a village in Pukeng. Kingwanyana Kodi mining. She comes from those platinum mines in the northwest. From a family of 6 as the first one. And after your parents have been waiting for this bouncing boy, and here you come along as this girl, and oh, the blind one, that makes life even more complicated. And that is the story of my mother. After years of being married and waited very long, she got this beautiful girl. But trust me, today she looks back, she's a very, very proud mommy. But this girl also raises 3 girls. And 2 of them are visually impaired. You saw but and I can tell you they are princesses. They are queens. They own this country because mommy made sure of it. Now, what is my job? I always loved life, and everything that happened in my life is a sideshow. I'm a girl with a vision, an identity, a dream, very clear of where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So everything else that happens along the side does not disturb where I'm going, because as a young girl, I had a vision. I knew I was different, and I knew that I am here on this world to do one thing, to live life and do what God sent me to do, and nothing else. So everything else that happens along the way, the stories that all the ladies have told, I was saying to the Premier, the one beautiful thing about disability is that our stories are the same. Our experiences, I mean, I have congenital cataract and nystagmus, and tell me the same things they say to Rulani. They say, oh, you know, it's the stories I'm still hearing to this day. But what I want to say this evening for me is that, you know, it was one morning. I've grown to a school for visually impaired people all my life. I've studied in Braille. I've done it all. And obviously, in the process, one man, you know, you experience sexual abuse, you move on, and life just continues. So the journey doesn't stop. As I said, I've got a roadmap of where I'm going, and I know exactly how I'm going to get there. Along the way, you fall off, but if you've planned it, trust me, you'll find the road back. So in this journey that I said you must go do those things, you know, type quickly. You can type my surname in any way. You know, the beautiful thing about technology, it will correct it for you. Now, this one morning, I just got a job at Disabled People South Africa as the National Coordinator for the Disabled Women's Development Program. Fresh from university, I always tell young people, even though I'm visually impaired, I don't know what unemployment means because I've never been unemployed. So I had a job before I wrote my final university exams, and it was a management position. So girl, this girl is going nowhere but to the top. So on this beautiful morning, you know when you go catch that 6 o'clock flight, and you're still half asleep and half awake? Now, I love reading. And as a visually impaired person, the disadvantage is that as you grow up, you don't have books in abundance because they are all written for people with 2 seeing pair of eyes. But I had this beautiful book. I still remember it was published in 1992. It was written by Marion Wilson, and it was something about the secrets of love, blah, 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 blah. And as I was reading this book, and this guy was sitting next to me, and he said, "Excuse me, lady," because he kept on looking at me, and he ended up saying, "Excuse me, lady, I really need to ask this. Are you reading that book or are you smelling it?" Now, it's still too early in the morning. You need to think and decide. Am I going to be nice? And I'm going to be rude? Or am I just going to indulge? And I said, well, actually, sir, I'm doing a little bit of both. So that was the end of the time that I could read, because now I needed to explain why am I doing a little bit of both. And that was in 1996 on the 16th of January. And on that very day when I was reading this lovely book of mine, I came across a quote which I want to share. I want to share it with the ladies that are being honored today, but I also want to share it with everybody because it is that quote that brought this girl, and that keeps me very sane, and that reminds me of who I am, where I want to go, and how I'm going to get there. And this quote, now, you know, hey, trying to do what seeing people do sometimes isn't the best choice. But it says that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be beautiful, talented, fabulous ladies, gorgeous,